Welcome to TaNaCh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of Two Guys Exploring Christianity with my dear friend in arms, Greg Slow Ride McBride. Welcome back, my friend. How are you today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Hey, how's come you always say live when you could not do this if you were dead? I mean, isn't the idea that we're actually having a conversation enough that we're live?
It's definitely better than the alternative. That is for certain.
It is better than the alternative. You are correct.
Oh my gosh! Never a dull moment with you, I'll tell you. Okay, so
Yes.
so as you illustrated before, we're gonna start in Proverbs, and then we'll end up the show possibly with some phone call Q&A if we have enough time.
That would be wonderful.
Welcome everybody, and if you are watching this show and you missed the coffee shop talk, it's because you're not a member and you didn't get notified. So if you want to catch the pre and post show banter between the two of us and all of the shows, you'll want to join the channel. It's like $5 a month. Turns out like 25 cents a show. So it's not really too much at all, I don't think. So, but yeah, so this is where we're going right now. And so, Greg, welcome back, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We are going to, so again, I have a lot of back and forth with preachers. I'm going to call out the Clash of Minds people. Because I don't know, I forget who sent this video to me. If you sent me the Clash of Minds people, why email me again and take credit for it, because I very much enjoyed watching their stuff. They're relatively easy to, they're low-hanging fruit in the messianic movement. So they're the ones that had the rabbi in Jerusalem, and he was talking about Ezekiel's temple and how the sacrifices will be reinstituted. And they took him apart on their video, and I called them and I said, look, I mean, the rabbi is just quoting Ezekiel 43, 44. You know, you can disagree with him, that's fine. But you can't make him out to be some kind of a idiot like they did on their show. And I've been in contact with the Clash of Minds people now for well over a month, talking to them, emailing them, telling them what the rabbi was saying is found in the TaNaCh, which again, I don't care that they don't know. My hope is that they will know, and then they won't make the same mistake again. That's my hope. But they, as of now, still have not responded. I get excuses while they're traveling. Do you get emails when you're traveling?
You should.
William?
Yes, sir.
Do you ever get... Yeah, you can get emails when you're traveling.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's not, and these people are, so they're a very smooth organization. It's very good. It looks so good. They have a studio set up, and they have the questions come on a screen as they're sitting there watching. And so but they won't correct the video. I said, just apologize to the rabbi that you besmirched. You know, that's fine. You know, just apologize, and maybe you can come on one of the shows on your channel here, and we can talk about the temple in the world to come, how it's been prophesied by the prophets for a long time. And Hosea speaks volumes of it, you know, and the things that will happen, but they will not do it. And so I hope, and I told them about the channel here. They can come on it. They can watch this, but they owe a rabbi. I don't even know who the rabbi is I'm sure they know, but I don't know who he is. So I'm hoping that they will still publish a video and apologize to the rabbi for not having read Ezekiel 44, 45, 46, where they could understand also what will happen in the world to come in Jerusalem, Israel. So that's kind of an aside. But the one of the preachers that I have running text debates with told me that in Proverbs chapter 8, wisdom is kind of personified, and wisdom is Jesus. This is Jesus in the TaNaCh, because I one of the things I always ask preachers is, well, where do I find Jesus in the Hebrew Bible? Well, this is one of the places where you find Jesus. And so we're going to read in Proverbs, and we're going to see if this is one of the places where we find Jesus in the Hebrew Bible. We'll start with Proverbs 6, and we're going to go to 23. And it says that for a commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is light. And if you've been hanging around with Orthodox rabbis, you know that it's Isaiah chapter 42 and 49, where we learn that Israel is a light unto the nation. And this confirms that the light that Israel carries is the Torah. This so perfectly syncs with everything that the prophets write. Isaiah in chapter 2, Micah in chapter 4. It's when the Messiah comes, when the Messiah is recognized, the Torah goes forth out of Jerusalem. And the Torah is the light. The Jewish people are light in a sense. There's a sense, but the Torah is the light that will go without, because the Jewish people teach the Torah. They are light unto the nations. We are exclusively told this. There is no place in the Hebrew Bible where it makes any mention of a Messiah going forth out of Jerusalem. There's no place where it says Jesus goes forth out of Jerusalem, but the Torah goes forth out of Jerusalem. And just like in the cool messianic movement and the cool preachers, they don't call Jesus anymore. They call him Yeshua or Yehoshua. The church teachings are kind of morphing on Torah as well. And oh no, it was never taught that we don't keep the Torah, and I'm like, what? I never even heard the word Torah except in that movie about the Japanese invasion of Hawaii, where they said Torah, Torah, Torah when they were attacking. But in the church, there's okay. When I say the church, I mean the mainline Christianity. There's no church teaching that we're teaching the Torah. No, they don't do that. But it's getting cool to say, well, yeah, the church has always taught the Torah. Oh yeah, it's all Jesus is the Torah. Oh, okay, yeah, it's always been. Wow. Again, I got taught in the church, in a mainline denominational church, that, and many other mainline denominational churches taught the same thing, that the Torah ended with Jesus. It explicitly says that in the 7th or the 9th chapter of Romans. Says Jesus is the end of the law. That's what it says in a King James. And again, the cool translations, well, no, it's the goal. Jesus is the goal
Right, but
of the
that would be accurate to
Torah.
say that though, right? Because it is the Greek.
It
Yeah,
could be, yes. Well,
yeah.
the Hebrew word, well, you know this, the Hebrew word there can mean end or goal, either one.
Well, the Greek. I
But
mean,
all of the
I
Christ
think they translate it from the Greek, and the Greek it does say target or goal, and if that's true, then all Christianity messed up when they translate it to end. You
exactly,
know, so
yes.
yeah,
In the King James Bible,
yep,
it says end of the law.
yep.
Jesus is the end of the law. So, and again, there's certain preachers that tell me, oh, they no, it's messed up. It's messed up. Well, these are the teachings of the church for 400 years. You can't now just say, oh, the church got this wrong, and really what we're supposed to be doing is keeping Torah, because there's nobody in the church that would have a freaking clue how to actually keep the Torah. That would you would have to start inviting Orthodox rabbis to your services, change the day you do your services, and start learning how to keep the Torah, and then that would be your only option. You can't just all of a sudden say, "Oh, yeah, we keep the Torah," because it's declaration. It's not commandments. It's declarations. This, and like we said, each of the 10 declarations has many subheadings. That teach how you keep it, because you cannot just all of a sudden keep it, because you don't know. There were two things told to the children of Israel. They were given a written Torah, they were given an oral Torah. There is no mention anywhere in the written Hebrew Bible how to do kosher butchering. No, none whatsoever. There is nothing that tells you how to afflict your soul. But if you don't afflict your soul, you will be cut off from your people, which is not literally a death sentence, but in practice, it's pretty close to a death sentence to be cut off from your people. So if you're going to, and it's not just about clean and unclean animals that you can eat. For instance, cattle are clean animals, but I hang around with rabbis. You talk a lot with rabbis when you travel 5 hours with them in a vehicle. A rabbi can't go into a grocery store in northern Indiana, buy a hamburger, take it home and fry it, and say, "Well, I'm eating clean meat." No, it has to be butchered in a way that makes it clean. And again, this is only for Jewish people that are born into the Jewish nation of Israel. So that has to happen. And since we are not told in the Hebrew Bible how you do kosher butchering, well, then how would they? Did Hashem just say, "Okay, you got to butcher everything in a kosher way," and then Moses just like, "Well, I guess I better start figuring out how to do kosher butchering."
Huh.
No,
I would
I,
serve an addendum on that part. It's anybody who is born into the Jewish faith or even converts, they have to converts
converts,
also
yes,
have
yeah,
to
yeah. If
follow
you're
the kosher
like,
laws as far as it goes.
yeah,
Yeah,
like Shannon, who was in the pre-chat, she actually converted to Judaism. She has to do
yeah.
kosher. I'm amazed at how few kosher places there are in Midwest rural Indiana
That's funny.
and surrounding areas. There's virtually none. So a recent rabbi that I traveled with, he brought all of his food with him because
Yep.
he was gonna. There's no place he can buy. He did find. I did learn what a minyan is. A minyan is you have to have at least 10. And this rabbi did find a minyan in the city that we went to, and he was very happy about that. I believe
Of
he said there
course.
were 13 or 15 that
Nice.
came very early in the morning and to his minyan. So no non-Jewish people are allowed to go to a minyan. That's another thing that's exclusive to the Jewish people. So the idea that you don't have a oral instruction to go along with your written instruction is laughable. And I've been told by rabbis that a lot of the oral teaching that was given as well at Sinai and in the wandering of Israel. Remember the it's Exodus chapter 16 where the man is gathering up sticks on the Sabbath, and that's a death. He was we had not gone up to Mount Sinai yet, but the the invocation against working was clearly in play. Everybody knew, all of Israel wasn't out, just this person who was disobeying the commandment of the Sabbath was the one who was punished severely. So we have an oral teaching as well, and any of the oral teaching that is not 100% agreed on by the synagogues around the world is is not taught. They don't, because the rabbis understand that in an oral tradition some can get lost, so only the oral traditions that there is unanimity on are kept. And of course, the most of the oral law has been written down now. So I got there from the Torah being a light. Wow, that's that's a long way. And I'll go back to Proverbs because that's where I'm at.
Right.
But they
I was looking up the verse where it says whenever you talking about slaughtering an animal, when for food or whatever. And there's a place, and I was looking up. I thought it was Deuteronomy, where it says, "When you do this, be sure to do it the way I showed you on the mount."
correct, yeah.
And but in the Torah itself, it doesn't tell you how. But in
No,
the Torah, it
no,
does tell you to do it the way I showed you.
do it the
So
way,
so
yeah,
there
do
has
it
to
the way I
be an oral law. There's no other possibility.
correct. Yes, yes. So Jesus in the New Testament, we are told, agreed with the oral law because they were the uh, according to the written Torah, could a surgeon um, do any surgery on the Sabbath? No, no. But Jesus agreed that a male Jewish child, that when his eighth day falls on the Sabbath, the the rabbi can perform a circumcision, which requires medical instruments and cutting, which are prohibited to be done on the Sabbath,
And,
except in the case of a circumcision, because every male Jewish
or
child has to be circumcised on the eighth day,
in a life or death situation,
or in a life or
right?
death
Because you're
situation.
commanded to
Yes.
preserve
So
life, right?
you don't find the exception to the Sabbath day circumcision in the written Torah, but Jesus agreed with it. So how would Jesus have known except he was orally taught as well, just like the people around him, because he would have been orally taught that it was okay to circumcise a male child on the Sabbath as well. So there are, and the early church, my gosh, the early church agreed with the oral Torah
Yeah.
because the written Torah does not tell you anything about how to set the days, what day the feasts are. It does not. But the early church listened to the rabbis until Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, they listened to the rabbis to learn when the Passover was so that they could celebrate Easter. And then at the Council of Nicaea in 325, that's when Constantine, the emperor of Rome, severed the last tie between the church and Judaism. And his letter is full of vitriol against the Jewish people, how terrible they are, how they killed Christ. They did all these things. And your New Testament tells you that the Jewish people killed Christ in the book of John. They famously, it says, let his blood be upon us and upon our children. And again, preachers talk, oh, you're not reading that right. You're not reading that right. Well, the church read it that way for 1700 years.
Yeah, right.
But now we know what it really meant. But at Nicaea, that inviction against the Jewish people was very plainly taught by Constantine at the approval of all the bishops that arrived for the big confab in Nicaea. So without the oral teaching, how do you know when the first day of the year is in the Jewish calendar?
Yeah.
Because Judaism has 11, 12, or 13 months. What do you base that on? Because you're not taught in the Hebrew Bible what you base that on. You're taught in the oral Torah. Every rabbi on this channel, every rabbi listening, every Jewish people, all the Jewish people who are listening, know exactly how the Jewish calendar is set. Why is that? How is that? Because they have been orally taught since the days of Moses how to set their calendar. And it has been set that way forever. And this is year 5784 on the Jewish calendar, 5,784 years since the Garden of Eden. And there's no other calendar that comes anywhere close to that. And there are a lot of calendars out there. Did you know there's a French Revolution calendar?
Wow.
Yeah, there's a calendar that bases the year on the number of years since the French Revolution. I never knew that. I don't know how I learned that. I forget. But so anyway, we're in Proverbs here.
Can I let me add to
Sure.
a couple verses to that oral law thing being supported by the New Testament. Jesus, I think it's Matthew 23:5. I just looked it up. I don't know where it's at.
Okay.
It says, "But all the works they do to be seen before men, they make broad their phylacteries, right, and enlarge the borders of their garment." Referring to specifically, these things that are found in the oral law. So notice that Jesus didn't criticize them for doing it. He criticized them for actually trying to be really, really more excessively showful, right? So if it was a problem or if it wasn't in practice, he would say, why are they even putting these things on? Those aren't needed anymore. And then you have in Acts chapter 1, verse 12, it mentions something that I overlooked for years, and it literally says Sabbath day's journey. It says, then they returned to Jerusalem from the Mount of Olivet, which called from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. Well, what is a Sabbath day's journey? You can find that in the oral law.
Yeah.
And so it's all over the New Testament, and it's like, but people ridicule it all the time. If you've ever tried to watch one of my videos and it says members only, that's only temporary. All my videos are free. They eventually become public. But if you want immediate, unedited access with limited ads, you'll have to join the YouTube channel for $5 a month. This can only be done through YouTube. Also, if you have found this channel helpful and this has blessed you or your family members in helping bring you out of idolatry, I would love to have your support. Please consider donating to this channel directly. That would pretty much make you a partner in this journey, and that would be pretty awesome. Donations can be done through PayPal, Patreon, or through snail mail. The links to all are added in the video description below. You can also click this link and it will take you straight to my website with a donate button, which leads you right through PayPal. Thank you once again for your kindness and consideration for supporting this work. Blessings for you, your family, and your home. Shalom. You can find that in the oral law.
Yeah.
And so it's all over the New Testament, and it's like, but people ridicule it all the time.
Right. a Sabbath day's journey is a half a mile.
It's two. I think
That's a
it's two.
Sabbath day's journey.
I was thinking it was
That's how
2 miles.
far you can go.
I thought it was like 2 miles,
Well,
something like that. It's under 3 miles round trip.
yeah, it's
Under, yeah.
well under 3 miles. I think we could test this if Rabbi Fedro is listening, he could put it in the chat. But I think a Sabbath day's journey. What's that?
If he's, that would be cool. I don't know if he's. I haven't seen him. He might be there though.
He might, if he's in there, he would know. Rabbi Malat would know.
Yeah.
If he's on the chat. Well, probably. I think Shannon would know because Shannon lives in Israel and she lives on the Sabbath. So we could just ask her how far from your home can you go on the Sabbath, and she would know. So,
yep.
But yeah, those are all things that you can't know, and it's
okay.
an excellent point you made.
I just looked it up, and it's like it says roughly 3/4 of a mile.
Okay, 3/4.
So you were definitely really close on that for sure.
Okay, yeah.
The distance is generally considered to be 2,000 cubits, which is about 1.2 kilometers or 3/4 of a mile. The distance is similar to the Egyptian of 1,000 double steps, whatever that is.
Okay, yeah. It's really you're allowed to go a short distance from your house, but again, you can't. And if you would go 3 miles, you would be breaking the Sabbath. And that's a big deal. Not in the church. It's not a big deal to break the Sabbath in the church, even for people who think they're keeping it, which they cannot. You cannot keep the Sabbath if you're not a Jewish person. You can honor the Sabbath, you know what I mean, but you can't keep it. So when you're Jewish, if you go 3 miles, that's a big deal. You've got a big problem because that's why you have to live within 3/4 of a mile of a synagogue, because you're required to go to synagogue on the Sabbath, but you can only travel 3/4 of a mile. So one way that Jewish people keep the letter and the spirit of that law, because in the church, they're just only interested in the letter of the law, the letter of the law, the letter of the law. Well, and I'm sure there are Jewish people that are only interested in that. But our Creator has always been concerned with your heart. Very clearly, from the Torah, He's concerned with your heart. And so Jewish people, in order to keep the letter and the heart of the Sabbath day journey law, will, if they live too far away on Friday night, they'll stay with a friend who lives within a Sabbath day's journey of a synagogue. And then they go to synagogue and come back to that friend's house, and then Saturday night they leave. I have witnessed that myself with Orthodox rabbis that have done that in my presence. So it's a big deal. And how do you keep? I always asked in the church, how do you keep the spirit of the law if you don't keep the letter of the law?
See,
in other words,
that's a biggie right there, because, like you said earlier, they teach, that the spirit of the law, because God put it in our hearts, right? And
right,
but if you read in Jeremiah 31, it defines what that means, having it written on the inward parts of your heart. It tells you what that means. So, in other words, as an ex-Christian, let's say I was still a Christian, I can't say, well, the law is written on the inside of my heart, and come up with and explain to you what that means, but it means something opposite of what Hashem said it's supposed to mean. And that's what Christianity has done. Because here it says, so that you may see my covenant and perform them, or do them. Not to ignore them, but to actually do them.
Not to ignore them. Yeah. Have to physically. Now, you be a Jew, and as the Sabbath is approaching, you say, oh gosh, I can't work tomorrow. Oh my, and then not work. And then all the time as it's getting, because the Sabbath is 25 hours long, not 24. I learned that from Rabbi Singer, and it just came into my head. I learned that from him like 2 years ago. Nice. It's not 24 hours long, it's 25 hours long. And so if you're a Jewish person and all day long you've been just sitting You would be keeping the letter of the law, but obviously you're not keeping the spirit of the law, because the
Hey, Greg.
spirit of the Sabbath is that you get to use it as a break, as a rest, and do. So
It looks
that's
like
part of it too.
it looks like our streams, my internet got interfered with somehow. Oh, actually, hey, you know what? Michael Martell said it was just the video. Pause. The audio continued. So what we'll do is,
Okay, we'll try to get back to Proverbs here, and um, I I I apologize again that I go off on wild tangents because I don't intend to. I read it when I saw Torah is light. It reminded me of the Egyptian or the Israeli people's role in the world. So Proverbs chapter 6 verse 23. For a commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is light. And reproving discipline is the way of life, to guard you from an evil woman, from the smoothness of the foreign woman's tongue. Do not desire her beauty in your heart, and do not let her captivate you with her eyelids, because for the sake of a licentious woman, one may beg for a loaf of bread. An adulterous woman can ensnare a precious soul. Can a man draw fire into his bosom without his clothes being burned? Can a man walk on coals without his feet being scorched? So is one who consorts with his friend's wife. Anyone who touches her will not be exonerated. So very clearly, this is the teaching from the Proverbs that the Torah is how we escape, so to speak, this problem that confronts most all of us, really. Go to chapter 7 and go to verse number 1.
okay.
My child, heed my words and store up my commandments with yourself. Heed my commandments and live, and heed my Torah as the apple of your eyes. Remember, Israel is the apple of Hashem's eyes, and Hashem's people, the Torah is to be the apple of their eyes. Bind them on your fingers, inscribe them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding a friend, that they may safeguard you from a forbidden woman, from a strange woman who makes her words glib. Okay, now, so very important in this, because we're gonna read all of chapter 8, because remember, we are taught by the church that wisdom is Jesus. That's Jesus in the Hebrew Bible. Say to wisdom, you are my sister. All right, that's what you need to keep in the front of your brain for this. Now, chapter 8, we start. Surely wisdom will call out, and understanding will raise her voice. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. if
Her voice. I see.
if wisdom is Jesus, we got another problem. William, when you were in the church, were you ever taught that Jesus is a girl?
No, 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 no. But
I was, you what?
ironically that would have worked out better though. You know why?
Why is that?
Because when it's talking about a lamb for a sacrifice for sin, it was a female lamb.
Oh my. Excellent point. Excellent
Yes.
point. Why do you need me on this show? Goodness gracious. Just do it.
we need, we
That
need,
is, it's a little ewe lamb. That's right. Yeah.
that's funny.
No, that's good. That's good. That would work better. Yeah. Atop the heights along the way, at the place where pathways diverge, she stands. Near the gateways of the city, at the approach of its entrances, she cries out, to you, O men, do I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. Simpletons understand cleverness, fools understand in your heart. Listen, for I will speak noble thoughts. The opinion of my lips will be fair words. For my palate will utter truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are with righteousness. They contain no twisting or perversion. They are all correct to one who understands, and upright to those who find knowledge. Accept my discipline, not silver, for knowledge is choicer than fine gold, for wisdom is better than pearls, and desires cannot compare to it. I am wisdom. I dwell in cleverness. I provide knowledge of designs. Fear of Hashem is hatred of evil. I hate pride and haughtiness, the way of evil and a duplicitous mouth. Hey, I said duplicitous without even making a jump in my tongue there. Wow, that's incredible.
That sounded fluid, baby.
With me, there is counsel and wisdom. I am understanding. With me is might. Through me, kings will reign and nobles will decree righteousness. Through me, officials will rule and nobles who judge righteously. I love those who love me, and those who search for me shall find me. Wealth and honor are with me, great fortune and righteousness. My fruits are better than fine gold, even choice gold, and my produce is choicer than silver. I lead in the path of righteousness amid the pathways of justice. I have what to bequeath to those who love me, and I shall fill their storehouses. Hashem made me as the beginning of his way, before his deeds of yore. I have reigned for all time, from the beginning, from before there was the earth, when there were no depths, I was formed, when there were no pools rich with water, before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was formed. When he had not yet made the earth and its environs, or the first dust of the inhabited world, when he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he etched out the globe upon the face of the depths, when he strengthened the heavens above, when he fortified the well springs of the depths, when he set for the sea its limit, and the water should not transgress his word, when he forged the foundations of the earth, I was then his nursling. I was then his delight every day, playing before him at all times, playing in the inhabited areas of his earth. My delights are with the sons of man. That's wisdom. That's the Torah. If it's Jesus, then Jesus is a she, and Jesus was made.
It was created, yeah.
Because that's what it says.
Yep.
He was formed. This wisdom, which is being, it's the Torah. It's not personified. It's not anthropomorphic. It's a very beautiful way of describing the Torah. The Torah is wisdom. If you learn the Torah, there's no perversion in your ways. There's no twisting to the left and to the right. You're not one thing one day and another thing the next day, like the Apostle Paul taught us to be in it would be in the book of Acts. No, I think it's in Timothy. Anyway, Paul teaches that when he's with Jewish people, he acts like he's
Oh yeah.
Jewish. When he's with non-Jewish
Yeah.
people, he acts like he's non-Jewish. So that doesn't fit well with keeping the Torah, because in the Torah there's no twisting. You don't change, because the Torah is eternal wisdom. It's and the analogy is that if you have the Torah, that is way better than wealth. And he uses wealth in the sense that the Bible uses wealth, because um, the the idea of gold and silver is wealth in the Bible, physical wealth. And so the Torah is better than wealth. But when you have the Torah, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, wealth flows to you. Take Abraham, for example. Abraham kept the Torah. Oh, the Christians, they go up. Oh, no, he didn't. No, no, it's not that. Yes, he did. It's Genesis 26, verse 5. You can read it for yourself. He kept the commandments, the statutes, and the ordinances. If it wasn't the Torah, then what was it? That's a great question. And in the 18th chapter of Genesis, the reason that Abraham is chosen is because he will teach his children after him to keep the commandments. That's what it says openly. He wasn't chosen because he believed God. He did believe God, but in the Christian Bible, he believed God and it was rendered unto him as righteousness. No, it wasn't. He believed that God would do what he says he will do. But Abraham was a righteous man because 26:5 of Genesis, he kept the commandments, the statutes, the ordinances, just like Zechariah and Elizabeth in your Christian Bible in the first chapter of Luke, the 5th verse. You can read it for yourself. They kept the statutes, the commandments, and the ordinances. They were blameless before God. Put that in your pipe and smoke it because it doesn't gel well with Christian theology from your own Christian Bible. What your own Christian Bible has just told you cannot happen according to your Christian Bible. I'm sorry to bring that to your attention, but now I'm sure that I'm reading that wrong, but you could probably we could just read that here real quick.
What verse?
You got time to go to the first chapter of the book of Luke, and we are explicitly told. I was wrong on the verse. That's verse 6. Well, I'll start with verse 5 of chapter 1 of Luke. Chapter 1 of Luke, verse 5.
Got it.
There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless.
Nice.
Okay. But the irony is that the next verse tells us that they had no children. And you cannot completely keep the Torah unless you have children. so
well, to be fair, they maybe weren't done. Maybe they were going to be working on it.
That's true. They weren't. They're going to have John the Baptist, so then they would. Yes. So if it was written just a little bit differently, then it would be kosher.
Nice, very nice.
But not the way it's written. But again, we are openly told that they kept the commandments and the ordinances and were blameless before the Lord. And that's, I'm sure that the word that was used there would be kurios in the Greek, but it means God. It means that's what the word means. It would not, in Luke chapter 1, verse 5 and 6, it would not say the yud, the hey, the vav, and the hey, because that does not exist in Greek. So, but this is problems for the church. And so if wisdom, and again, back to wisdom in the 8th chapter of Proverbs, and I've never talked about this ever on a show, but it's been like it's been used multiple times against me to show Jesus, but you got some big problems if wisdom is Jesus,
Right.
because wisdom is a she, and it was formed. And there's no place that Jesus says, I am the Torah in the Christian Bible. He says that there shall not one jot or tittle of this Torah pass away until all things are complete. He says that in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. But so but he doesn't say that he's the Torah. And here wisdom is the Torah is poetically talked about as wisdom. And so that's right. All I got to say about that.
That's okay. Shalom, my dear friends. Hope this message finds you well. If you like the way this channel is going, and the channel has been a blessing to you, please consider supporting the channel by going to the website, TaNaChTalk.com, TaNaChTalk.com. Thank you once again for your time and for supporting TaNaCh Talk. Shalom.
תמיד כולם ביחד, חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, השאיפה